Welcome to Bikers and Backroads, a podcast about all things Harley-Davidson. We're your hosts, Jason and the Big Z, so sit back and join us as we go into this week's episode of Bikers and Backroads. All right, guys, thanks for downloading the latest episode of Bikers and Backroads. We're glad you joined us. And whether you're a seasoned Harley-Davidson rider or just dreaming of your first Harley, we're sure we got something to offer you. We're back for another episode. We got a few things to talk about this week. And we're just ready to get into it. So what's up, man?
Not much. Ready for the weekend. Ready to start getting ready for the celebration of Thanksgiving.
Yep. Zanny has next week off. He's a deer hunter, of which I do not do. So he's finishing up on Thursday. We're recording this on a Wednesday night. You'll see this on Friday, or I hope so. We're doing this on a Wednesday night. He's got one more work day, and then he's off for a few through Thanksgiving. But he'll be in the woods. And I guess if it would stay in the 50s and not rain, we might get a little ride in. So this week, we're going to talk about, our first thing is a safety tip. And we both were just happening to talk about, we watched a vlog of some of our favorites. We watched the thrashing stuff like we talk about all the time. And we were watching some wheelie sessions where Juan was trying to wheelie his Dyna. And they had went through and put on a new tire and all this stuff. And as his bike is hooking up for him to practice his wheelies, I'm not a wheelie guy. I can't do it on my Harley. I could do it on anything else I ever had growing up, but or riding when I was a younger adult. But I can't do it on my Harley. So if that's your jam, then awesome. But as he was doing wheelies, it shredded his drive belt. Now, he also said his drive belt had lots of miles on it. It could have possibly been years old. And but that brought us to our safety tip. It is a time of year when you're in and you're starting to look at your bike, and we've talked about cleaning it up and changing your oil and all this stuff of getting it ready if you're going to put it away for a few months because the weather may be bad where you are and you can't ride all the time. But now is a great time to check your belt, the wear pattern, making sure it's aligned right on the pulley, if you're getting wear left or right on your belt, if you're getting a rub, if the teeth are getting irritated or worn down. So
check your belt tension. That's something that's really looked past. Make sure your tension marks are lined up. You're pretty even on both sides at your axle adjust points, and make sure you're not too tight on your belt or too loose on your belt. Anything that's got a bolt and a nut through it can loosen up or over tighten, throughout years and riding. And it's a Harley Davidson, so it's got vibration. So check that, especially now with it being the colder season, and you've got a lot of time between rides and time just milling around in the garage. Check, make sure that your belt isn't wearing funny. It's in its proper adjustment, and you don't have any wear, fractures, cracks. It's not torn. Make sure you're not missing any teeth or skipping. And even on that, check your cog on the back.
Your pulley, your drive pulley.
Yeah, make sure you're not seeing any cracks or damage to that could potentially damage your belt and cause a major mechanical failure. Make sure the grooves aren't flattening out and that you're going to have some belt slippage, come next riding season, or something you may not have even noticed that you're already experiencing. Just try to catch it early or catch it at all. So, yeah, belt and that rear drive pulley, check those. That's our safety tip.
Belt deflection tools are cheap. You can pick them up off of Amazon. I mean, you hold them in your hand, you put pressure up on the belt to what it'll rate it at so many foot-pounds of pressure or whatever, and you're supposed to get so many millimeters or centimeters of deflection for proper alignment. And I mean, if that's off, it's simple loosening your rear axle, adjusting your wheel and your axle nuts and the sets that go on your rear tire and rim just to adjust that belt. It's sliding it forward or back in the swing arm just to make sure you have that proper adjustment. It sounds like it's daunting, but it's really not. I mean, you take your time. There's a lot of things on your bike you would be surprised you can do on your own. There's tons of great videos and knowledge shared on even the YouTube platform, but you can always get your service manual or I think it's a Cyclemer parts and basically it's a mechanical diagram and a walkthrough of everything on your bike and breakdown for part numbers and things like that. And it's just basically an advanced service manual, just doesn't have Harley Davidson brand on it. So
we also live in the age of the internet. Yep. So everything you need to look for and all your specs are going to be on your phone or on your computer or whatever you're using. And it can be right there beside you, walking you through it on a video or looking at a spec sheet of a forum or straight from Harley Davidson.
Yep, absolutely. So getting into last week's video, we had some great comments back on our video. We had an individual share. We were talking about adjusting the rear height with the shocks on our Dyna, that I wasn't sure how easy that would be on a Softail. Actually, a guy has done it on a Softail, and he talked us through it. But, I mean, if that's your thing, fine. Give me 2 shocks on the back. I think that's the best look. So I'm going to do it that way. But Softail guys, it's awesome if you want to raise the rear height of that bike. I'm a Dyna guy at heart. I like that look. So, but also one of the best suggestions was a guy reached out to us. Doc Harley sent us a message saying that he just advises people to not do tires in the wintertime. He makes sure that's kind of a springtime deal, because you don't want to put new tires on and let your bike sit on like cold concrete and possibly get flat spotted, because, you know, when they're new, they're very sensitive and things like that. All the rubber compounds and everything in the lubricants and things that help bind that tire and help it to be sticky are just at its peak. So if it sits there its first couple months under load on cold concrete, the chance of it flat spotting is a big deal. So I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah, that was a very valuable piece of information.
Yeah, even though I wasn't planning on, in our video, we were talking about that being a wintertime maintenance thing. I'm probably looking more at maybe purchasing tires and setting them up out of the way. We don't have a tire machine. I'm not going to do that, but I would take that and get it done. But if that was confusing for anyone else, we just want to share that info with you, that it might not be the best time for you to install new tires in the wintertime. But if you're in a climate-controlled area of your house, or you can put them up in a room and they're not going on a shelf or on however you want to store them. But if you want to purchase them now, there's a lot of places that have tons of motorcycle parts and accessories on sale here coming into Black Friday, which is something we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But we just want to thank you again. That was a little segue for us to thank you for comments and people sharing their opinions with us to help us keep growing and addressing things that we hear in feedback. We just want to let you guys know that we look at all those comments and we try to comment back in a timely manner. So that just helps us grow and helps us learn. So big thing is, you saw something interesting today and you wanted to start talking about it.
Yeah, so I texted back and forth with Dad all throughout the week, and I told him I saw something I saw on Instagram that the motor company had posted that the holdover bikes of the 2026s would be coming out soon. So I started looking into it more, and really that was all that I could find from my sources, which was Instagram and Facebook and things of that nature, from the motor company. And it was that 2026 holdover bikes were going to hit the floor soon. We were going to see some, the lowrider STs, the baggers, and all that returning bikes. So then, as of today, we were filming. This is Wednesday. Dad informed me that we saw that a dealership has received the 2026 holdover bikes. It was a Road Glide being unloaded off of a truck, the delivery truck. So, with that being said, the 2026 holdover bikes are here. We're going to start seeing them soon. Now, we don't know when they'll be hitting the showrooms here in West Virginia. We haven't seen our local dealer post anything about it yet. But who's to say that couldn't be Saturday or tomorrow or next week? But keep your eyes out. Those bikes are going to be hitting the showroom's floor. I know I'm looking forward to going and trying to see them in person, trying to see these new colorways. But But yeah, the holdover bikes are here. We're going to start seeing these 2026s out in the wild before too long.
Yeah. As soon as we see them at our local dealership, we'll make sure we have camera equipment with us, and we're going to go in and we're going to look at them. We'll talk about them. We'll show the color options. But I saw today, he had texted me that earlier in the day, and this afternoon I had a chance to breeze through, and it was one of either a Texas dealership or somewhere in the middle of the country. It may have been Twisted Harley Davidson or a couple of Texas dealers. I don't know. But one dealership was unloading a red Road Glide, and the statement was the 2026s are here. And then I saw the Thunder Teal.
Vivid Black.
The Thunder Teal and Vivid Black two-tone on a Road Glide, and it was being unloaded off of a truck. They had a little skid steer unloading it, and it was they were unbolting it all off from how it came in that makeshift pallet they come on now, and the frame of how they store them. It's not a traditional box anymore or a steel frame or whatever, but yeah, and it may have been already opened and they were just staging that for photos, but it was already put together, handlebars up, ready to rock. So it'll be interesting to see some of those colors. Yeah, we're still getting more information and people showing what they believe is coming in Chapter 2. But until Chapter 2 comes, I'm done speculating about Chapter 2. And we're going to be looking forward to seeing these holdover bikes and really promoting that. Like I said, if we even just get to the dealership and we put out a small video on YouTube, we'll share that on the channel. I mean, it can be, we can talk about things like when we see them. So we'll make sure we bring that to you. So arrival times, they'll be hitting your local dealerships any day, apparently. And watch for your local dealerships. Yeah. Around here, our local dealership has social media, so they'll be putting out when their first truckload. Yeah,
I'll be hounding Instagram, making sure they haven't posted anything. So
yeah, for us, it's going to be Black Sheep Harley Davidson in Huntington, West Virginia. Or I mean, I'm not opposed to running to Bluefield if Coles gets one, or even to Withfield if Black Bear gets one, so I can see them. So those are all short drives to us, and even Baxter's over in Ohio. So yeah,
if anybody from any of those dealerships is watching us, find us on Instagram, DM us, and let us know when you got those bikes in, and we want to come see them. We want to show them to the world. So yeah, hit us up.
Yeah, please make sure you're sending us. And back to that DMing us. Again, we're on Instagram, Bikers and Backroads. We're on TikTok, Bikers and Backroads. We're on Twitter, BNB_pod. We're on everywhere you get audio podcasts, if that's how you listen to us while you're driving or at work or whatever. And if you're watching us, you have found us on our YouTube channel, and we appreciate you meeting us here. So we got a little shorter show tonight, or a video tonight. So we're going to get into some Christmas gift ideas. We had this well received. People have been sending us ideas and things of that nature, and little videos and things, but we had already tabulated a list. Last week we went over our first round of suggested Christmas gifts, and they were all gifts under $50. And what did we specifically say last week?
We said we wanted to build this as like a little bit of a list to show different price ranges and how everything can be different. Mm-hmm. So with this week, we're saying we're going to stay under $100.
Yep.
And we have a list of 7 items that we thought of off the top of our heads, putting them together. Mm-hmm. And these are all going to be pretty useful, or something cool that whoever you're giving this gift to, if they're into Harley Davidsons, they're going to use it whenever they ride, or love having it, and make them wish they were riding.
Yeah. So last week, we're just going to go under $50. We threw in things like gloves, gift cards to the motor company, cleaning kits that you could build by buying like a bike wash, a detail spray, things of that nature. And we even threw in, what else did we say? There was one other thing we said on there. Anyway, it was under $50. You can get some t-shirts under $50 and things of that nature at your local dealerships. So that being said, you could pick up a challenge coin. You could pick up poker chips. If you have family members and they collect poker chips and you're from out of town or their area, you can buy them one and mail it to them or whatever. Those are all little things you can do that are definitely under $50. So this week, like Xander said, we're going to stay under $100. And these are just a few things we came up with and rattled off. A couple of these we use, and we are very appreciative that we have them. So you can go ahead and knock off one of these.
Yeah. So the first one on this list is going to be towards the higher end of the budget, and that's going to be a phone mount. Now, we run quad locks, and I will say if you're sticking at the around $100 and you're not I know this list is under $100, but you go with the phone mount. But if you're willing to go a little bit extra, get them the quad lock phone case as well. They make them for all the different iPhones. Or go with either one or either or. You know, a different person. Get with another family member to buy that person. One of y'all gets the phone mount and the other one gets the phone case. But if that's what you do, both people will be under $100. But if you're looking more for the just over $100, you can go with the quad lock phone case and the quad lock mount. They make all kinds of different ones. I mean, look at Quad Lock's website. We run the handlebar mount. They've got them that go on the perch and everything of your, clutch or brake perch. So that's a great gift. We use it every time we ride. I had one, went a little bit without one, and the whole time I was riding without my Quad Lock, having my phone mounted up there, I just kept telling myself I wanted it mounted. Not even to look at my cell phone. It was just nice to have, directions, and that was ease of, working music and stuff through the Cardo system on our helmet. So yeah, phone mount, great gift idea for, the rider in your family.
Quad Lock runs tremendous deals through the holidays. They've already started. I was looking over on Speed Addicts, not affiliated with them, but they were the first ones to release some Quad Lock things. They're like anywhere from 15 to 20% off right now through middle of December. Quad Lock on its own website runs deals. I mean, you're going to find these deals anywhere you can buy Quad Lock. But you buy the Quad Lock mount, and then anytime you upgrade your phone, you got to upgrade that phone case. So if somebody in your family has a Quad Lock mount on their phone, but they're getting ready to upgrade their phone, great time to buy them that phone case. They're going to need it. You can get the Quad Lock phone mount, $60, $59. You can get the vibration dampener is a little bit of an upgrade. You start getting into things where it charges your phone and things that can get you up over $100 pretty quick. But the phone cases are $59 to $79. I mean, you can easily stay under $100 here, like Xander said. Our next thing we're going to talk about is a tire inflator. We run the Fantic. We've talked about that. Both of us have Fantic on our bikes. Our local Sam's Club just had Fantics everywhere for $39. I've seen the new models that are a little stronger going for a little bit more money, maybe that $60 price range. But again, I've seen Fantic, I've seen Lexan, I've seen other inflation brands that run the little portable air inflators that also have a built-in. I mean, that's a built-in. It measures your air. It has all that. It tells you exactly what your air pressure gauge is. As soon as you hook it up to your bike, you can set it to inflate. It'll stay right there, and then you move on from that. But we use Fantic, so I'm going to recommend get a Fantic air inflator. Again, not affiliated. We bought all three of those. We have four, two in cars and two on bikes. So we use the Fantic. It's a great thing. It inflates everything from tires to pool floats to sports balls. We're good to go. You can get one of those easily under $100.
All right. So our next thing on our list is going to be battery tenders or a jump box of that sort. Battery tenders are great, especially through the winter months, because they'll keep your battery on a trickle charge system. That way it's not going to just deplete, and every summer you got to buy a new battery. You might get 2, maybe 3 seasons out of a battery. I just had to put a new battery in my motorcycle, and it's aggravating that little of a battery is as expensive as they are. But a jump box is a great gift as well. They make them in all different sizes nowadays, and at that you could have them. They make ones that are going to be small enough to fit in a saddlebag, but a jump box is a great all-around gift for anybody that's into motorcycles or a gearhead. It's in, maybe not motorcycles, but they like cars. That jump box is going to be a portable way for them to jumpstart their bike or jumpstart a vehicle without having to have jumper cables and wiggling a car in the way and things of that nature. And we were just talking about this too, is that like jumping a motorcycle off of a car, you have to be careful. So with that, a jump box is a better, choice to jump a bike that's got a dead battery or it's been sitting for a while. It's got very low voltage. That jump box is going to be a better choice because so with that, just make sure if you're looking for one, try to find out if it's good to use on a motorcycle. They probably are. It's probably more common that they are than aren't able to do that, but something to keep in mind. But yeah, battery tenders and jump boxes, man, they're, it's just something great to have, and it's going to get you out of a bind every time. So that's one of those gifts that you hope they never have to use, but you're glad they've got it when they need it.
They're definitely going to use a battery tender. We tend our batteries every time we park in a certain area of our garage. The way we organize our garage is if we're going to ride our bikes every day for a few days, we park them in one spot. But if we know they're going to be put up for basically the week and we're going to be next weekend before we can get them out, we move them to a different spot. And that's where our battery tenders are plugged in. They stay there. We hook our bikes up. We keep our batteries, like Xander said. His battery went bad not because it wasn't tended. It had lived its life expectancy. It was like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old stamp on his battery, which is, it's awesome that it lasted that long.
Yeah.
And when we put the new tuner and we put a new voltage regulator on it, the battery, it was going to need one anyway. It had just died before we did all that stuff. So we knew going into putting the new tuner, the Thunder Max, putting the new voltage regulator on it, that we had a new battery. We had a fresh place to start for his charging system, and it was going to be ready to roll.
That battery is what made me replace that voltage regulator too.
Yeah. So the jump box is great because it has the ability to, once those things are charged, and they'll last forever. Most of them now are lithium batteries. So you can use it to charge your phone. You can use it to hook a speaker in if you're camping or something. I mean, if you're going to be out on a trip and you're going to be gone for maybe a day or two, you can use that jump box as backup power.
A lot of the smaller ones that are meant to keep, like while you're traveling, have like SOS lights and stuff built into them. So if you're broke down on the side of the road, you can take it off. Maybe your bike don't need jumped, it just won't run or something like that. Take it off, set that behind you if you're pulled off on the side of the road, and that's going to just make you more visible around the corner or be seen from farther away. But yeah, they're great gifts. Good for safety and good to keep you out on the road.
I mean, we keep a jump box on our boat, and then we use a NOCO brand, not because we're affiliated with them, because it's never let us down.
Yeah.
We've been out on the water and had an issue,
battery,
and had to replace some batteries. That's just part of it. But the NOCO has never failed to start it and get us home. So
you can find them anywhere now. I saw them on the TikTok shop.
They're on sale now. I saw them on Amazon for sale through the 20th of November. And the average $120 jump box that you would use from a NOCO, they're running anywhere from $79 to $99. So there's your under $100. Another thing we're going to talk about is grips. I mean, this is pretty rider specific. So if you're buying this for someone, you should have a little inkling of what type of grips they want to run. But even now, like ODI lock-on grips for Harleys, like Dyna guys or Softail guys would run, just the grips are $59, $60 now. You talk about heated grips and things that bagger guys are running, you can be well over $100. But if you're just looking at replacing grips, a good set of grips from a reputable company, an Avon, ODI, other companies like that, they're going to come in around that greater than $50 to under $90 price range.
Yeah, I run Biltwells, and I can't remember the price on them, but they were not over $100, and they're pretty nice. I have no complaints over them. Grips are a great gift for any motorcyclist, whether it's street bikes or not. I had every pair of grips I ever had whenever I rode dirt bikes back in the day. I had got as Christmas presents, and I loved them. And if you're riding dirt, grips get destroyed, especially because if you're riding, you're dumping your bike, you're going to rip the end off of the grip, and then you need to replace it. Grips are a solid choice, and like Dad said, it's better to have that little bit of a idea of what they're wanting. Every time I replaced grips on a dirt bike, I went with something different, so that was something I mentioned, and Dad normally knew what I was interested in at the time. But yeah, grips, very inexpensive way, and that person is also going to like it because if you get them, if you know exactly what they've been looking at and wanting, that's going to be an upgrade to their riding experience and an upgrade to the look and appearance of their bike. So that's going to go well appreciated, and you're going to help them, ease up on their hands a little bit, not have numb hands riding. So moving on to our next item, I've come in and was going to say motor clothes or, motor company, just knickknacks and things like that. You can find anything Harley-Davidson branded. Some stuff's more expensive, but T-shirts and things like that, you're going to be under $100. Maybe get them a coffee mug or, a plate or maybe even a little sign to hang up on the wall or stuff. You can find these things at the dealership for under $100. They're going to, be able to decorate a room or, represent whenever they're out on the road or out in public. I swear, I think all I ever wear nowadays is Harley-Davidson shirts and the gear. They're good clothes, like they're quality. They're going to hold up. You have shirts that are older than me in your closet that are Harley-Davidson. And, but yeah, motor company clothes and just the motor company memorabilia is great. It's all through our houses and in my room and in everything. So it's going to be something that if you need a gift, that's a great gift to give them. Somebody's always going to appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, there's even things like we collect poker chips. There's poker chip display cases. Those run $65 to $90. I mean, I found mine on a sale at a dealership when we were away on vacation and picked that thing up because it was like $40. People collect things and they want to display them. I have a desk set that the whole desk set was like $100 back in the day, but I've had it for almost 30 years. So there are quality things to have that are motor company specific. Another thing is if the person in your life that is the biker is kind of a biker nerd, any of the classic Harley-Davidson books. I mean, there are so many books out there written on Harley-Davidson, the development of the motor company, and I guess people don't want to read books or whatever, but I mean, have a book, display it on a coffee table, show that memorabilia that you like. But some of those books are almost $100 if they're illustrated well and by certain authors. The older they get, you can find them on eBay or slightly used and things of that nature. But some people are really proud of their book library from brands they like to use, and the motor company is no different. So that type of memorabilia is another thing that people can add, and those things will be under $100.
Absolutely. And the next item I wanted to bring up because I personally love these. Harley-Davidson has the miniature motorcycle bikes, like a collector's item, or some people give them to kids as toys, but it's like a miniature bike, and it's extra points if you get that person the bike that they own. Whenever I first got my bike, Dad, as a gift to me, found a 2007 Street Bob that was black and everything, and that was a gift I opened, and I love it. It sits in my room on my desk. People ask about it all the time. Anytime we have people over and they go in my room or something, they're like, "Is that not what you have?" Yeah, it is. Those are great just to display on an office or a coffee table or anything, or if you got a kid that if you ride bikes, that's something always to think about to give a younger child that likes bikes or asks you about yours. find them your bike on the toy, or maybe you have someone that's like me is that collects them. If I see one that's cool that I want to have, like, excuse me, but I have some antique ones that are model. I have like a 1930 something one in my room. I've got a bunch of different ones. I don't have just the one that is my bike, but those are an awesome gift, I think. And they can be collectible, or they can be a toy for a little kid that's, a future Harley Davidson enthusiast as we are.
Yeah, you can get those. They come in series. So if you buy an individual bike, you're looking individual little die cast or however they come. Some are die cast, some are actually plastic. So you watch what lines you collect. Some of those are $12 pieces, but if you buy the series of 6 bikes at $12, you're $80 plus tax. So if you buy someone that collector series that they have, there is another gift idea under $100. But I mean, some guys collect, every year they'll do like a hauler or a specific vehicle with a bike, and it's just an added to collector thing to make more people collect Harley Davidson things. You can get stools for your garage that say Harley Davidson, coaster sets, things of that nature. All of those are great gifts for people that have bikes. I mean, you may know bikes or a biker or somebody that rides bikes. I won't even say a biker because, I mean, you got somebody in your family that rides a bike, and you could know nothing about a bike. But hey, those coasters are labeled Harley Davidson. They're going to like that. Hey, this ice cube tray makes bar and shield ice cubes.
Yeah.
That's a pretty novel idea. It could seem tacky, but they're going to like that. Yeah. It's just a thing.
Glasses, mugs, anything. Silverware sets, bottle openers.
Yeah. Next week we're going to get into gifts under $500. So that's going to be, that extra special someone in your life, or they're going to use their whole budget up that you've allotted somebody, a spouse, a child. I mean, our kids get a Christmas budget. If they want to blow it on one thing, you got one thing to open. Now, we never let that happen, but you would probably rather have quantity. I'd rather have quality than quantity, but as they're aging, they're deciding that. But when they were younger, it was, if they have 10 presents, I want 10 presents, and they don't realize the cost of things like that. But we're getting, if you're talking under $500, you can be talking some significant things that is just that I'm going to buy that for them. It's a special thing, but we'll have some specifics for that next week. So tune in next week as we keep going with our Christmas ideas, because we want to try to have this kind of wrapped up before the Black Friday sales end. Mm-hmm. And you can look at all your local, like I said, retailers, your Speed Addicts online, your Cycle Source, your whatever, J&Ps, your Dennis Kirk's. All these places are going to be running things online. Parts Giant, things, all that. Motor Company. The Harley Davidson website's full of things on sale right now as far as apparel, hats, accessories, things like that. Your local shop, all this stuff. So there's tons of things you can buy that motorcyclist in your life that they're going to really appreciate. And it doesn't always have to be the craziest thing. It can just be a simple thing. So moving on from our Christmas list, we started last week talking about storing your bike. And we were discussing this, you and I, about, I wonder what in my past I had sport bikes. So I use sport bike stands. I would use a rear stand and get the rear tire off the ground. I would use my front stand and get my front stand off the ground. My bikes never sat through cold weather with their wheels ever on the ground. And now you see guys, but that store there talk about, hey, put your bike at least on a piece of wood so that the cold doesn't get through to flat spot the tires as much. And you see people saying, well, I mean, do people store their bikes on dollies? I mean, one of the popular dollies is the Let It Roll dolly. These things are not cheap, but they get your bikes up off the ground. my question to Xander was, with your suspension unloaded like that for all that time, is that damaging to your bike? I mean, I understand putting your bike on a dolly, rolling it out of the way, storing it there for a couple of days, and then getting it down. But if we're talking letting your bike sit up on a dolly like that for 2 to 3 months, my question to anybody out here watching, and input here is definitely what I'm looking for, is your bike being stored raised up with the suspension being unloaded, is that rough, especially on your front forks? Because, like I said, my sport bike lifted right down at the forks. So even though your bike wasn't sitting on its tires, there was some pressure through the bottoms of those forks, so that it was a little bit supported. And that's my biggest thing. Would the front forks being unweighted stress those cartridges, break down the fluid? I just don't know. And that is a 100% question out there, and I would love some feedback for.
Yeah, our thought process was you're going to have, are the springs on the inside of the cart in your cartridges and your fork seals, especially in the front, where they're going to be pulled apart and pressure, is that going to damage them? Because they're designed to have load on them. And also, same thing with the rear. Like our Dynas, the rear shocks, you're going to have, pressure on the fork seals or on the seals of that shock, but also the springs being stretched out. Is that going to make it, be less as performative as it is now, or is it going to not cause any damage at all? And I'm sure there's arguments either way, but like Dad said, let us know in the comments if you have knowledge on this, what you've found, because this was something that we thought about not long before we did this, so we hadn't looked it up yet. But this was also something we wanted to use as an interactive piece with everybody watching.
I've searched for 2 days. Internet, forums, YouTube people that I trust, that I know run Let It Roll Dolly or the Dynamoto Dolly, which seems to be another option because it does load the fork a little bit on your cruiser. It just has that, you get up under there and it barely lifts the wheels off, and it's got wheels that are multi-axis.
And they're sweet because they are, bike specific. They're going to fit your bike the best.
I mean, there's other like track systems that you pull your bike up on that track and it elevates it up off the cold. Would that be an option? But that still leaves your suspension with a little bit of pressure on it. My biggest thing is I just don't know the storage time for an unweighted suspension sitting there with the weight of your bike. Is that going to damage fork cartridges, rear shocks, whatever?
Especially if especially if they've already been run. Like, I get, if you ordered that, they're not going to come ever with load on them now. But like, now that they've been sitting on your bike, you've been running them, they've been broke in, the parts are seated, your seals are seated, that fluid that's in there has been compressed and whatnot and everything. So is stretching that back out again and letting it be unweighted, is that going to damage it and hurt it? We can't find anything.
I'm almost afraid that's a vacuum. Like, it's almost that it's a vacuum, and there's a time frame where that wouldn't be a good thing. But I mean, you can get a Harbor Freight dolly that gets your bike up off the floor. And it's in a track system, and you could easily move your bike around. Those things are pretty slick, actually. It is what it is. It's not the greatest of qualities, but it would get your wheels up off of the coldest part of the floor. You are on a system that you can move it around, but it keeps your suspension under a little bit of a load. Another thing about storing your bike, we use StarTron fuel system treatment. Again, we buy it. We run it in everything here that's not my diesel pickup truck. We do use that StarTron as a fuel system cleaner in almost every tank, at least every other tank. I just put it in our bikes last week because neither of us have ridden in a week or so, and both of our bikes are sitting in the garage with full tanks of gas right now. So I did put some in both tanks, but we use that very, very religiously. No pun there, but we use StarTron in everything here. and it's worked flawless. So it's a little bit of a fuel stabilizer, definitely an enzymatic cleaner for our fuel system, and it's never given us any problems. But the debate's out there about what fuel stabilizer, if you're going to use one. Do you drain your tank all the way? Are you one of those people? I mean, we're not talking our bikes. Our bikes here are not going to sit for 4 or 5 months and not be run. There's going to be a day,
that will
at
ride.
least every month, that we're going to ride.
And
so
we're not going to
everything
stay in constant freezing temps. We're going to go from here, we'll get a 30-degree day, and then it be 60 the next day, and then drop to 20, and then come back to 55, and it's not. I mean,
sometimes we just are stir crazy, and we'll just bundle up and go ride. And in the 40s, we've taken off and ridden in the 40s before all day.
I've ridden when it was 29, and I said I wouldn't do it again.
But that's another thing. I've looked today, and there's just all this great debate about how long you store your bike, and where you are in the country is what it seems like it matters. Talking about fuel quality, talking about moisture in the air, the ability for your fuel system to draw moisture because it's so. I mean, there are places that it'll get sub-zero and stay there for months. And at that point, you're just drawing all this moisture into your fuel system. And those guys up in the north, you're talking North Dakota, Michigan. I've saw lots of videos where they suggest just using a little vacuum system and draining your tank. If you know you're not going to run your bike, drain your tank so it doesn't sit there and pull up any moisture, destroy your tank, start to have problems, break down inside. But is that overkill? I mean, I don't think that's us. We've never done that in the past. We've never had issues like that with our bikes.
We've never had dirty, fuel filters. We've never had, fuel system problems. That's not ever been something we've had to battle.
Knock on wood, we haven't had that. I mean, the worst thing we've had is we had we had to replace the
quick detach out of the bottom of my Dyna tank.
Quick detach valve failed, and we just replaced the whole system. And we were riding one time and stopped, and my gas tank had vapor locked because it wouldn't start. And all I did was crack the gas tank because I had just filled it up, and we knew we were dealing with that. Cracked the gas tank, gas cap, screwed it back down. My bike started right up. It hasn't been an issue since.
You heard that vacuum
but
come out.
But it just sounded, when my fuel pump kicked on, it just sounded like it was like
not so
in a bag, like you had put it in a plastic bag, and it wasn't getting anything. So storing your bike for wintertime, we talked about putting ours up. We wash them. We change the fluids. Speaking of which, if we run to the Harley shop this weekend, we got to start putting some fluids on the shelves to get these things changed over. And we've already discussed what oils we run and what trans fluid we run and what primary fluid we run. That's all in a previous episode. Go back and look at it if you get a chance. But storing your vehicle. Do you cover your bike in your garage? We don't typically cover our bike. Both our bikes have covers, but I don't cover my bike when it's in my garage, usually. I mean, if I'm out there milling around and working because I'll have other projects going on, I'll cover all the paint with towels so we don't get them dinged up or sawdust or whatever we're working on. But I don't usually cover my bike with the cover. Which is also another debate going on out there. I see from all these people talking about what they recommend and things. But there's lots of people that store their bike at their local dealership through the wintertime. I don't think they put all those bikes up on lifts. And I don't think they put them all up on... You go to the Harley-Davidson Museum. There's hundreds of bikes stored up on those shelves, that shelving system. All of them, the suspensions are loaded. They're just, some of them there are never meant to run. But that just is storing bikes. You see people talking about, I store my bike on a Let's Roll dolly. They don't tell you how long they're willing to let it go. I use it and I store it and I can move it around easily in my garage. How long do you let it sit on there? Just while you're doing your maintenance? Or are you leaving it sit there for weeks at a time? So if you or anybody you know uses a dolly system that puts their bike, that elevates their bike with wheels off the ground and lets it sit, even if you use a simple cycle jack,
Yeah.
If you know people that let their bikes stay like that for extended periods of time, please shoot us a comment.
Yeah.
In my mind, I don't think that's the best way to leave your bike. Yeah. But I could be dead wrong.
I even brought this up at back in riding dirt bikes. We had the center stands that you put underneath the motor in the case, and it lifts the front and rear up. But we never stored our bikes for long periods of time like that. We used them working on them if the bike sat for a week or so. But at the same time, that wasn't off-road suspension. Long travel, it was meant to, do that more. But we didn't keep it like that all the time. We, those bikes, we kept them on the kickstands or racing triangles at times too, whenever they would be stored for long periods of time. And anybody I've talked to that you might go or over to their house and it's on a stand one day and then the next day it's not. It's
leaned up against the wall.
Yeah, leaned up against the wall. We
always, if I knew my bike was going to stay on the center stand, even when we rode dirt bikes, I slid the center stand back to where the rear wheel was off, but the front wheel was barely touching.
Yeah, and at that, the center stand was normally still on the swing arm, so you had pressure on it.
Yeah, and you're running a linkage suspension there.
Yeah.
And your shock is right over top of where that center stand was compressing. So I don't know that was, I think sliding that forward and letting that front wheel impact that was way to do it. But yeah, you can slide it back on the center stand if you were working on it and anything. And we have a motorcycle jack. We use our jack anytime we're servicing our bikes. But I just don't know that I would trust my bike to be up on a jack with the wheels hanging off.
Yeah.
Either end, both suspended off the ground, and want to store my bike like that. I know cartridge systems are valved and all that stuff, but in my mind, that's a kind of a negative pressure or a vacuum moment, and I just don't know that stretch with the weight of the wheel and the weight of the rim and tire and all that stuff is just ideal. But we could be wrong, and there are mechanics in our forums or in our comments that talk to us. And I appreciate the feedback there. It's not a plan of mine to store my bike there. It was just a thought process. We just kicked this around the other day about storing the bikes. And we were like, anybody that stores their bike through the winter on like a dolly so that their wheels won't get flat spotted, like sport bikes, we used to lift them up. But back then, again, where you supported the sport bikes was the rear swing arm at the axle bolts. So that suspension gets a little load, and right under the forks at the bottom, so that you can press that fork a little bit and both those wheels are up. And I just haven't seen, the Dynamoto kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
But the other dollies I've seen don't have that as an option. So that being said, those are just some questions we wanted to throw out there and get some feedback on. Other than that, that's kind of the simplest of shows we have for tonight.
Yeah, I hope you all use that Christmas gift list. I hope that can help anybody listening and trying to get some ideas. Or if you're listening, show that significant other or family member like, hey, these are some great options. Or go on with that. Don't overlook your belts. I feel like a lot of people forget about them a lot, but that's the main thing between you moving and not moving.
Yeah, we talked about tires, and then your tires are the only part of your motorcycle that contact the ground. Well, what moves your tires is the drive.
Yeah, so check your belt. That's what all Harleys are running stock. But I guess we could go ahead and say now, if you've done the chain conversion kit, hey, go ahead and check your chain. Don't let that look past you. You don't want to grind all the teeth off of your rear.
So if you have upgraded to a chain conversion kit, you're running a spacer there for that rear sprocket, and those spacers can wear. They're polymers. They will wear out. Sprocket teeth get worn down, so you're checking that sprocket. You're always checking the stretch and tension on your chain, and you should be watching your links. And I know it's really cool to be running gold and colored chains, so you can obviously see some visual wear if you're getting rubs and scuffs on your links. So, but I mean, you even got to pay attention to the inside the primary end, way more when you're dealing with a chain like that. So, but don't neglect your belt. Don't neglect your maintenance. I mean, you get very few precious time to ride your bikes, and it's definitely a privilege to ride your bike. So you got to take care of what takes care of you. Before we get out of here, I just want to say, please like, share, and subscribe. Continue commenting. You're watching for us on any YouTube thing we put out. Again, we're going to get us a fresh video of what's going on at our local dealership. As soon as those new bikes start rolling in, we'll throw them up on the YouTube. You audio podcast guys that are listening to us, please leave us a review on those platforms, the Spotify, the Apple iTunes, the Amazon Musics, the Podbeans. We appreciate you finding us there. It just helps us grow. We're trying to grow this. We've had some videos go ballistic and get tons of views, and we have some slow growth. We added a new subscriber today to the YouTube channel, and we're just going to keep doing this. So with that being said, buddy, take us out of here, and we'll see you guys next week. We will be doing a show next week. We will be recording before Thanksgiving, and it will be dropping the Friday after Thanksgiving. So take us out.
So with that being said, guys, that's all for today's conversation. Thanks for tuning in on this episode. We appreciate you watching our YouTube. We appreciate you listening to us on just a podcast. Remember, you can find us anywhere that streams your podcast, iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, and anywhere else. We're on all of them. You can find us at all of our social medias, Bikers and Backroads, but on Twitter, we are on B&B Podcast. And then we just hope y'all have a good holiday weekend. We will be filming, like Dad said, and we'll have a Thanksgiving episode up after Thanksgiving. So that's it for today, and we'll holler at y'all later.
You riders, be safe, be blessed. We thank you for joining us.